Welcome back to the World Championship Series group drawing. It's now time to decide who plays who in the season finals. Before we get into it, I want to take a quick look at the round of 32 as we've officially completed this stage of the Premier League before moving forward, where we will take the rest of the tournament to Toronto, Canada at the end of June. Here are the names, as you can see, highlighted as top two in each group, from Group A all the way through to Group H, which will represent their region. We have 4 Koreans leading the charge for nations. We have in second place 3 Frenchmen. We have 2 Dutch players and also 2 German players leading nations. We also have 3 Team Liquid players in there. We have 2 Root Gaming players in there, 2 Millennium players in there. And from this point onwards, Pig, $6,000 is the minimum money that they can take home. You know that very well after season 1. And it goes all the way, of course, up to the first place finisher that gets $30,000. And of course, a lot of WCS points on the line. And for me, I don't know about you, I love these draws. I like watching them live, especially where we are right now. Look, I can see you're live. You can see this as well. There's still people in the crowd.
We're on TV.
We are on TV. We've brought in the official WCS admin, Graham, who's going to be helping us with the draw. And we're going to walk you through this, where we hope to not make any mistakes, of course. Right in front of us at this current point in time, we have all the winners of groups through the round of 32. So we have a bunch of winners in there, and we're going to be drawing from this first. But the way the process works, we're going to pull out, obviously 4 groups, but bear in mind, we're going to pull out the winners and spread them across the groups. So we'll have 8 winners in 1, 2, 3, 4, as in A, B, C, and D. So first guy comes out, goes in Group A. Second guy goes out, Group B, C, and D, and then back to Group A, and so on. And then after that, we're going to be drawing the second place finishers from all the round of 30 groups. And then this way is a little bit different. We'll be going and completing each group at a time, because at this point we will have 2 names in each groups. When we start to draw the second place finishes, we'll complete Group A, then complete Group B, C, and then D. So it's going to be an interesting little draw here. One rule, though, that we have to keep in mind is that any player that played against the same player that we draw out, that played in the round of 32, is not going to work. We're not going to do that. We'll pull them aside and redraw. So you cannot play against the same player that you played within group stages in the round of 32. Pig, thoughts on this before we get into it? We're almost ready to begin.
There's drums rolling, excitement. All the players are waiting to see which draw they get. StarCraft's a game, 3 different matchups. Players usually have their favorites, and they want to see those favorites drawn into their groups.
And of course, you got the season finalists, both of them here still, Pult, Hydra. You got Stardust in there, 4GG in there, Jadong as well. Let's take a look at the graphic, as this is how it's going to work graphically for you guys at home, so you can follow this nice and easily. So at the bottom, we have the 16 players that will be playing in Toronto, Canada. And of course, as we mentioned, we'll be going across Group A, B, C, and D, starting with the winners of each group in the round of 32, going over to the second place finishes. So it's time to begin officially the round of 16 drawings. I'm a little bit nervous, got butterflies inside. Graham, please draw the first player, winner of a round of 32 group, that will go and play in Group A. For GG is the first name drawn. He plays in Group E. The B there on that symbolizes the group that he played in the round of 32.
The 2014 DreamHack champion, very fearsome Terran player.
All right, Graham, second name please for Group B. Very serious here. Feeling the atmosphere, it's very tense. Harston gets drawn into Group B, avoids 4GG obviously. Roddy, smile over there, year of Harston.
Our first Dutch representative with some absolutely stellar PVZ lately. I think Zerg players are going to watch out for that group.
All right, third player please. Lilbo, winner from Group E, goes into Group C.
The bane of Hydra, the glorious up-and-coming master of the French PVZ.
Yeah, we're looking forward to see how well he does this season. Graham, next ball, please. I like looking at everyone's faces, all serious. Rhett, of course, winner of Group C, goes into Group D. Happy Roddy there sees no Dutch players against each other, drawn early on. All right, so let's take a look at the graphic now if we can. We have 4 players now drawn across from Group A to Group D. Here symbolizes that officially in the groups. So now we can get ready to move on, where we go back into Group A and draw the next set of first place finishers. So the first player that we're going to be drawing will be going into Group A, will not play against 4GG. For certain, we don't know, but the first match for sure. Graham, player number 5. Bunny meets 4GG within that group.
The Battle of TVT. What was once Bunny's worst matchup, one he's improved in a lot at, but 4GG loves a good TVT. That's going to be a clash of titans.
Yeah, so they won't play, of course, just for clarification's sake. 1 will play 4, 2 will play 3, just as all the groups do work out. Please draw the next one for Harston and Group B. Who does the Dutchman get in his group? Firecake gets drawn into Harston's group.
It's going to be interesting to see both those players looking like strong contenders for first place.
Okay, let's continue on, Graham. Third ball, only 2 winners remaining. Of course, Jadon being one of them from today. Tilo being the other. Tilo, Lilbo, same group.
The Wonder Bunch has a lot of fans here tonight.
Which naturally leaves us with 1 player left who won first place in today's group, which is Jadon. Jadon goes into Group D. Plays in the same group as Rhett.
Oof. Watch out, Rhett.
So, it's an interesting set of players so far here, Pig. 4GG, Bunny. Let's go through the groups a little bit here while Graham sets up for the second place players. 4GG, Bunny. You know, Bunny had that epic TVT series versus Pulp, which he almost won in the semi-finals in Season 1, but he gets drawn with another titan of Terran versus Terran.
Absolutely. I think that's got to be the group to watch out for. Group A at the moment looking the absolute scariest. Group B being a bit of a slightly different group. Harston recently showing amazing form. Firecake has been on the rise for a while. And Group C and D, a little bit interesting as well, with Lilbo and Rhett. Rhett coming back into his former glory and Lilbo being new on the world stage. It's going to be interesting what they bring.
Yeah, so definitely a decent set of players. Right now, Graham is just adding in all the second place name finishers into the balls. As you can see, some of them getting thrown into there. And then we need to, how many balls is it? 8 in total? 4 for this first bit. 4 for the first bit, right. Because what we're going to be doing, as mentioned, going to be drawing Group A and Group B. So in a moment, when we're ready for this, we're going to be drawing Group A. So the first player that we draw now is going to be playing against Bunny here. So we're almost ready. Are we ready?
What will the Pokeballs reveal?
So, all right, it's time to draw the first matchup from Group A. And the player that will go up against Bunny joining in is going to be Hydra, the Season 1 finalist. That group.
What a group. That is, there's going to be some amazing games in there. There's going to be some great ZBTs and TBTs.
Okay, so one last name to be drawn into Group A. And the reason why there's only 4 balls in there, of course, no players from the same group can enter A and enter B. So the ones that can are not thrown into the bowl. Last player to be drawn into Group A is our second place finisher who enters a very difficult group. Kung Fu Banda enters with 4GG, Bunny, 2 Terran players he said he didn't want to play against, and Hydra.
That is a powerful, powerful group there. It's an opportunity though. Kung Fu's got a lot of time to practice, our German hero today, and I think he's going to be focusing a lot on that PVT.
That's a very rough group. Here it is, finalized. Very, very difficult Group 8 there for the German. But no doubt, a lot on the line. We'll see how things play out. It's time to go over to Group B, excuse me. So let's draw the first player. This player will be playing against Firecake, and After this name, we're going to take a quick pause. We'll go over to Rotterdam for some thoughts in a moment before we continue on. I want to hear the boys and what they want to say. First player going into Group B with Hearthstone Firecake Marine Lords. Goes in, will open up against Firecake. France versus France in the first game.
Bit of Western European action there. Two French players and the Dutch player. They all have a lot of history against each other, so that's going to be a group with a couple of rivalries.
Yeah, this starting to really take shape now. And before we continue on, we are going to go over to Rotterdam because we've got Group A full, Group B close, C and D will take place in a moment. Rotterdam, what are you thinking over there?
Well, if I have to be completely honest, I think Gong Fu Panda has had a very good run so far, but Group A is going to be very difficult for him. I mean, that group was already shaping up to be the absolute group of death. 4GG, Bunny, Hydra in one group. I don't think Bunny is very happy with us either. What do you think, James?
No, probably not. I was going to say that, like, that's the potentially jeopardizing Bunny's chances in WCS if he's not able to take the at least the top 2 spot there. Because obviously, Bunny is one of the prime hopes of the Western scene to actually do well and move on to BlizzCon, but that's a very, very tough group for him here.
Definitely has his work cut out for him. Group B is not completed yet, but Johan, we've got a little bit of national pride over here on the line. We've got my boy Hearthstone, but then we also have the 2 Frenchies. How do you feel about this?
Oh man, they have a very interesting relationship, to say the least, and they faced a few times in French tournaments, so it's going to be very interesting to see not just the match, but like I think Twitter must be blowing up right now with their comments and all that, so very cool to see these 2 face off.
What I also think is very funny is that they will most likely have the same flight, so it's going to be like you sit next to each other in the airplane, it's like, and you look at him, you look. It's like when he falls asleep and like Firecake's like, hey, if I fall asleep, make sure that they wake me up for dinner, okay? Marine Lord will just not wake you up, take a spoon away, just try to get him in the worst condition. It's looking good so far, Sean.
Thank you very much, Roddy. Back here up on the desk, only about 2 feet away from each other anyway. It's like over here, Roddy. That leaves us with 1 player left to go into Group B. I gave you also secretly a bit of time there to think out who it was. There's only 1 player that can actually be drawn into that group. Let's draw it out here. Just I'm going to leave the suspense hanging. Maybe some of you have already figured it out.
Dun, 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 dun.
Graham. It is Pult. The Season 1 champion goes in there. We'll play against Hearthstone in the first match with Firecake and Marine Lord. Pig, thoughts here as we get the next balls in?
Oof, well, you know, it was looking like a group with a lot of European rivalry, and now they've got Captain America thrown into their midst. It's going to be tough.
It's a great 2 groups here. This is shaping up to be an excellent tournament in Canada, but it's now time to finish the round of 16. So let's continue on here, as we will go to Roddy's thoughts here after Group C. We'll come back to you for a little bit before we go into Group D. Well, let's have a look now. The first name going in, Igers. That's going to be such a great atmosphere in Canada when we do that.
Hopefully they'll be as friendly as the German audience.
Lilbo, TLO, and Igers. Not the most difficult of groups.
No, but in recent form, you know, historically, no. Recent form, though, gets turned upside down a bit. They all looked very good. TLO took out Pult. Lilbo took out Hydra. So, yes, these guys aren't historically, in recent times, the scariest players, but if they play the same way they did in the round of 32, this could actually be a group of death.
All right, let's draw the last player into Group C. There's 3 choices, only 3 players remaining. Left to be drawn, Petraeus, Stardust, and Ayasonu. Ayasonu gets drawn into that group. So he joins Lilbo, Tilo, and Igers.
Right.
What's that pick before we hand over to Rossi?
Good mix of races there. That's a real wild card. Ayasonu always pulls out the odd builds. Very excited to see how that goes.
All right. Well, Roddy, we'll come to you after the end of Group D because it's quite obvious now who's going to come into the last group here. There's only 2 names left, so let's continue on here. Roddy will come to you in a second. So 2 players remaining, as you can see on screen behind us. Petraeus and Stardust are the last 2 players. Who plays who is the question. Petraeus plays Jadong in his first match here at the season finals, which leaves us with Stardust. So we'll draw that for you as well. Petraeus joins Rhett and Jadong. Zerg, Zerg, Zerg.
Oof. I hope Stardust's PVZ is on form there because That is going to be a tough group.
And Stardust joins us in. So that is the official round of 16 drawing. That is the 16 players which will play in Toronto, Canada. They are the groups, they are the matchups. Nothing's going to change here. You don't need to know the dates because it's the end of June. They're not going to change. 26th to 28th of June, Rotterdam. The groups are complete. What are your boys' thoughts?
I think the groups look very exciting, especially Group C is such a wild group. We have a Chinese player, we've got the Australian, and we have two very strong Europeans. And Group D, where Stardust is the only Protoss, surrounded by three Zergs. You got a European Zerg in the name of Red that has really been like making a strong comeback over the last few months. And then we got Petraeus, who's just like the workhorse. Everybody just says like, you can't play three ladder games on Europe without running into Petraeus. So I think it looks very fun. James, your thoughts?
Yeah, it does look good. The groups, obviously, you know, the starting groups are looking extremely strong. Likewise, the last ones as well. I'm a little bit sad that Petraeus doesn't get to exhibit more of his TVZ because he looked fantastic in that matchup. But it'll be interesting to see how his other matchups are developing.
Todd, what do you think about the hope of your French boys? You've got three of them in the round of 16.
Well, the fact that they face off each other first, and then you know, in a group with I think it was Harstem. It's going to be hard. They're going to have to be on point. And then Lilbo, it's funny to see a French going up against a Chinese player because I feel like it hasn't happened in like a really long time. Maybe back to the Warcraft 3 days, maybe even. So it's going to be cool to see how well they can do there. He seemed really confident against Zerg. So I think they have good chances, to be honest. Looking at those groups, if they keep on practicing hard and all that, and it's going to be one of the stories that I follow very closely, how my fellow Frenchmen do.
All right, what do you think is the strongest group, and what is your favorite group? So maybe that's not necessarily the strongest, but the one that you think will be the most entertaining one.
I think Group A. Group A definitely is the strongest group with, you know, the three first guys that got drawn in there, and this poor Kung Fu Panda. It's going to be pretty tough for him. All that was missing in there was really Polt to basically have a group with the guys that could have been top 4 this tournament, so it's going to be pretty insane to follow that.
James, same question for you. What is your favorite group, and what do you think is going to be the most entertaining group?
I gotta go with Group A for entertainment and strength, of course. The third group, actually, with the really different mix-up of players, is actually going to be quite interesting. I think there was, as I say, TLO Iansu in there as well. So yeah, I think that one's going to be good.
I think I'm going to agree with you. I think Group A is the strongest one on paper, but I think my personal favorite is Group B, when you got Harstem, Marine Lord, Firecake, just all very strong, entertaining European players, and then you've got the Beast, the reigning champ himself, Polt. So that's pretty much our thoughts, Sean.
Thank you very much, Roddy. Back here on the desk. Final thoughts here, Pig, before we close up the round of 32.
There's no weak group. They're all powerful. The group of death, Group A. I'm just excited to see these games, see how these players perform on that huge stage with that roaring crowd. I cannot wait till the end of next month.
Well, thank you very much, Pig, for joining us over the last 4 days. It's been an excellent addition to the World Championship Series broadcast team. Thank you very much, Graham, for the drawing here. We will see you in Toronto in about a month's time, or a little bit less than that now as we finally enter June. Until then, we'll see you next time.